Does anyone else remember those really weird animated kids films from the 2000s? For a while, it seemed like we were getting a lot of bizarre family films that didn't always hit the mainstream in a big way, even if they were decent watches. The movie that I'm going to be discussing today didn't exactly do badly commercially or critically, but I barely hear people discussing it nowadays, which I think had a lot to do with the context in which it was created. In 2004, a new project was being worked on by filmmaker Chris Sanders, who is known for works like LILO and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon. This project, titled American Dog, centered around a canine TV star who finds himself stranded in the Nevada desert, accompanied by a cat and bunny. Sound familiar? A couple of years later, in 2006, Disney acquired ownership of Pixar Animation Studios for a sum of $7.4 billion following their 15-year partnership. However, by the end of that year, it was reported that Chris Sanders had been booted from his role as the director of American Dog. Following this, Sanders joined DreamWorks in 2007 to work on a film called Crude Awakenings, which I guess is what became the 2013 film, The Croods. I also find it really interesting that this was originally meant to be helmed by Aardman. I wonder what that would have looked like. Anyways, the film that came out at the end of all of this mess was Bolt. I watched this movie so many times as a kid, and I don't even know what about it captivated me so much. I also remember the trailer for it being on so many DVDs that we had.
The only problem is...
Hold on, Penny!
He thinks it's all real.
Don't let him out! He's never been off the set before!
So, does Bolt deserve to be better remembered? Let's find out. Without further ado, on with the review.
Polos is life, 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 sleep all night and then Polos is life.
I find it really funny that Bolt was released in the same year that Usain Bolt broke 3 world records at the Olympics. Funny how life works like that. The film opens at Silver Lake Animal Rescue, where we see our main character, Bolt, a white Swiss German shepherd dog who likes to play with a squeaky carrot toy, and is later voiced by John Travolta. I must say that this is a step up from Battlefield Earth. A girl named Penny approaches and ends up adopting Bolt, and I just want to say that this movie has a crazy cast. Penny is actually voiced by Chloe Grace Moretz here, and Miley Cyrus for the rest of the film. Anyways, the two become inseparable pretty much off the bat. The film suddenly cuts to 5 years later, and we see that Penny's dad has been abducted, but that he has genetically modified Bolt to become a super dog. This is probably one of the scenes that I remember the most from this film. To make a long story short, Penny and Bolt star in a popular television program where Penny's father has been kidnapped by your standard Bond villain, Dr. Calico, and his cats. I'm guessing the name comes from the cat coat colouring. Bolt and Penny fight crime with the help of Bolt's superpowers, such as a super bark, laser vision, super strength and speed, and a healing factor. The action sequences are pretty cool and are clearly inspired by Hollywood spy movies. Unfortunately, the show's director has forced Bolt to live on set to trick him into thinking the show is real, all to get a more realistic performance out of him. Isn't that like animal cruelty or something? Also, haven't they done this plot point before? Poor Bolt clearly takes it all super seriously, and finds it really hard to break away from staying on guard duty to protect Penny. Not even for Mr. Carrot. You hate to see it. Penny asks her mum and her psychopath of an agent to let Bolt have a normal weekend as a regular dog, but, of course, her agent has the final say.
I have a little girl at home, love of my life. I would do anything for her. And I would trade her for you in a heartbeat. True story.
2 cat actors then gossip about how Bolt believes the show is all real, and tease him by remaining in character for their own amusement. Bolt swears that he'll never let the bad guys get Penny, which means she's going to get kidnapped in the very next episode to improve ratings. I find it very funny that Penny uses a, well, penny in this scene, but after seeing Final Destination Bloodlines, it kinda sent a chill down my spine. Distraught, Walt tries to break out of the studio to rescue Penny, but falls into a shipping box and ends up being sent to New York City. Walt quickly realizes that his powers aren't working, and ends up stuck between two railings. A trio of pigeons stand there, laughing as he struggles, although they do help him. They then seem to somewhat recognize him in quite a funny exchange.
I know this dog.
Yeah, me too.
I gotta remember, it's gonna kill me. Hold on.
Walt tells the pigeons that he's looking for a cat, and they direct him to a stray named Mittens, voiced by Susie Essman, as revenge for exploiting the local pigeon community for food. Walt dangles Mittens over a bridge to get information about Penny out of her, but the startled and mostly confused cat lies her way out of it. She shows Walt a map to Hollywood, but he still refuses to let her go until he's reunited with Penny. They make their way to Ohio by stowing away in a U-Haul truck, but Walt jumps out when a box of styrofoam falls on him, as he believes it weakens him. Meanwhile, Penny frets about where he is. He's confused at the sight of blood, doesn't recognize feelings of hunger, and Mittens has to teach him how to beg for food. The scene really demonstrates how little Walt knows about the real world.
Beat it, stupid cat!
Funnily enough, I'm actually a cat person. One of the caravans houses Rhino, a hamster superfan of Walt. He promises to help Walt, but Mittens finds the whole situation highly questionable. They jump off a bridge to land on a train, and when Rhino mentions he saw Walt on a magic box, Mittens realizes Walt is from a TV show. A struggle on the train, caused by the lead getting caught, flings the trio into a nearby neighborhood, and Mittens, seemingly the only reasonable one in the group, is understandably furious. She chastises Walt from a tree and refuses to come down. He attempts his super bark on her, but all this noise attracts the local animal control, and Walt and Penny are taken to the local pound. Meanwhile, Rhino tries to fetch a ladder for Mittens, and I'm curious how he managed all that while stuck in his little hamster ball. Penny makes missing posters for Walt, and her agent presents her with a new dog in the hopes that the network can continue filming. I think this is pretty cruel. I mean, even if the network was desperate, they could work with a replacement dog while still looking for Walt. Walt is Penny's dog, after all. Walt starts headbutting the door of the animal control van continuously, but Rhino unlocks it, and Walt manages to escape. This, combined with the fact that his lightning bolt mark is starting to fade, makes Walt doubt his initial self-image. Here's our red pill blue pill moment, people. Rhino gives him an encouraging pep talk about how doing the right thing matters more than special powers. He doesn't quite say it like that, since he's still a bit delulu, but that's the takeaway. So, the pair agree to rescue Mittens. Walt and Rhino successfully bust Mittens out of the shelter, but not without wreaking havoc and causing an explosion. While stowing away on other vehicles, Walt asks Mittens who he's supposed to be, and she teaches him about Dog Business 101, including an adorable scene of him sticking his head out of the window. We get a montage of the animals travelling while Walt learns more life lessons along the way. I'm not sure that them eating junk food from a skip is very healthy for them though. One morning, Mittens shows Walt a cardboard apartment she's made for them to live in, and she takes offense at him still wanting to find Penny. This leads to an outburst where she reveals that her original owners declawed and abandoned her, so she doesn't believe humans can truly love their pets. Dejected, Walt continues his journey back by himself, but Rhino insists that they go after him. Now at Hollywood, Walt gets harassed by some pigeons looking to pitch some dodgy ideas for his show, which he agrees to consider if they lead him to Penny.
Wait for it. Aliens. Oh, snap.
Not sure how they'd work that in, but I've seen worse. Walt sees Penny filming a scene with the new dog for the show, but takes it at face value given what Mittens said earlier, and is completely heartbroken. Well, we have just under 20 minutes left of the film, so that can't be where it ends. While filming the next episode of the Bolt TV show, where Bolt rescues Penny from Dr. Calico, the fake Bolt gets scared on set and knocks over some fire props. Mittens confronts Bolt about the truth concerning Penny, who is now tied up on the burning set. Realizing this, Bolt bravely storms the building and stays with an unconscious Penny. He barks into the vent, alerting the fire brigade to the fact that they're still inside. Penny's mother quite rightly quits working for the network, who then develop a plastic surgery storyline to explain replacing Penny's actress. The new episode ends with Penny and Bolt being abducted by aliens. The real Penny adopts Mittens and Rhino, and the film ends with a Polaroid of her with her 3 pets, while I Thought I Lost You by Miley Cyrus and John Travolta plays over the end credits. So, what did I think of Bolt overall? I remembered little to no details from my childhood viewings, but watching it again for this review definitely brought back a lot of memories. I think it has a good core message about how making good choices matters more than being special. Compared to Bill and Ted, which I was really into and enthusiastic about, Bolt felt more like a comfort film, mostly because of all the sappiness and the adorable animated pets. Although the film doesn't delve into things too deeply, I like how it tries to tackle some serious topics, like exploitation in the media and the dangers of life on set. From what I understand, good acting comes from truly empathizing with your character, but forcing a poor animal to live out, or believe he's living out, such dangerous scenarios is just plain cruel, especially with his owner watching. As for the agent character, I found him ridiculous, and honestly, I never really understood what he was going on about with those "put a pin in it" speeches when I was younger. I appreciated that the film didn't talk down to its audience, but I do wish it had explored these themes in more depth. I was quite shocked at the voice cast featured in Bolt, as I knew who Miley Cyrus and John Travolta were when I was a kid. It just didn't register that they were in this movie for some reason, which is saying a lot as they both have quite distinctive voices. Mark Walton, a veteran Disney voice actor, also voices Rhino. I think the performances really helped bring out the characters, and obviously helped promote the film somewhat. With that being said, I don't really remember there being much theatrical promotion for the film, and it pretty much lived on DVD. I do think this was because Disney had been struggling in making successful animated films leading up to this, during the 2000s. It was apparently the 11th highest selling DVD of 2009, which even came with a short film named Super Rhino, which was an in-universe spin-off of the Bolt TV show. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the production of Bolt was pretty turbulent, and I do feel bad for Chris Sanders, as he never got to complete his project. Disney was going through a creative shift at this point, and auteurs were getting less and less control over their projects. I think the resulting film is fine, but I do wonder how American Dog would have turned out. Bolt was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Animated Feature, but understandably lost to Pixar's Wall-E. On top of this, I feel like Bolt was also overshadowed by later Disney projects like Tangled and Frozen, which makes Bolt come across more like a stepping stone of a film. In the end, I think that while Bolt is often overlooked, it does have its charm, even if it didn't quite reach classic status. It is a bit unoriginal, but without it, we wouldn't have gotten the films that came after it. So, I do think that if you're looking for a light-hearted adventure with cute pets, I'd give it a watch. Well, that's all for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.
The blue and green ones are my favorite kind, but I'll eat the colored ones from time to time. Cause Polos is life, 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 Polos is life. Sleep all night and then Polos is life.